we sat down and I could hear these two women, older women next to us, talking about their breakups. And I said to my friend, I was like, I need to go and speak to them. And she was like, what? So I go over to these ladies' tables, tears in my eyes, right, on my knees, because I was tuttying down. And I was like, I know this is really random, like literally voice breaking, because I was nearly going to cry. I know this is really random, but I've just broken up with my boyfriend and I can hear you two talking about your breakup stories, and I just think it would be really helpful if I could sit and listen. Hi my loves, and welcome back to Love What Luck. Hope you're all doing well. I'm recording from home today. It is a proper throwback. It's been a long time since I recorded here. I'm a little bit sad about it, I'm not going to lie. You know that I absolutely love my studio and I was very excited to be recording there, but basically, to be honest, there was an issue with the sound. I'd recorded the episode, I went to edit it, and the sound at the end wasn't right. And what I've learned about myself now, and what I've accepted with, grace and kindness, is that if I put an episode out that I'm not 100% happy with, or that I don't think is like good enough or quite right, that will bother me so much more than the time that I lose re-recording. So yeah, here we are from home. I couldn't get the studio last minute, so we're throwing it back. I'm not gonna lie, I did have a crash out when I found out that I couldn't put out that episode, because honestly, if you work full time, you know how hard it is to fit anything else around that. And especially if you were trying to do a side hustle, or, I can't imagine what it's like if you've got kids, but it's so hard to do it in the 2 days that we get given off. I need to know who invented the 5-2 working week rule, because obviously it was a man. I have no doubt in my mind it was a man. A man one day, many years ago, was just sat at home with his wife and just thought to himself, I need to not be part of keeping this home habitable, and I need to go out at least 5 days a week and feel as important as possible and make more money than I've ever needed. And I need to focus all my energy on that whilst my partner does everything else around me. And then on the 2 days that we get free, from the stress that I've put myself through voluntarily for those 5 days, we're going to have to invent something where we can collectively come together as men and just blow off some steam. So then I imagine that's how things like golf and pubs got invented. I imagine that's kind of where it came from. And here we are, however many years later, struggling along. And yeah, I feel like I've been throwing this word out a lot lately, but that's how you get burnout. I feel like I'm hearing it a lot more. I've obviously experienced it. And honestly, earlier when that sound wasn't working, I literally was like head in my hands. I had to have an emergency FaceTime with Adele, my mother. Because I was just like, I've lost half a day now. I only have 1.5 days freedom. And it's just not fair. And I was meant to be having a sleepover with Renee tonight. Guys, I don't know why we ever stopped having sleepovers now 30s. They're so much fun. I'm really back in my sleepover era. Obviously, since I've moved out and live by myself. When I go and visit Sophie, I'll stay for two days minimum. And then Renee comes over now and has a sleepover. And I don't know, obviously as you get older, you kind of get used to your own space and stuff. But if you're not having sleepovers in your 30s, I suggest you just give it a go. Last time she came, we binge TV, and I don't do that when I'm by myself, because I'm always like, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do something. Basically, I feel like I can't allow myself to relax unless I've ticked off, 90% of my list, which also never happens because the list is so big. But I feel like I can't. I feel like sometimes rest is like a reward, and I know that this is really bad, and all the stuff I've been reading about burnout and everything says that you've got to schedule rest. But I don't do that, so I find it really hard to watch anything. That's why it takes me so long to watch a series, because I kind of allocate myself an hour to watch a show. But of course, by night time, if I don't think I've done enough in the day, then I won't give myself that hour. So sometimes I'll just work and be on my phone and be trying to do other stuff other than relaxing. And that is how you get burnout. Obviously, we know I was in a bit of a state earlier this year. I was going to say last year, but it was earlier this year where I had to take 4 months off because I was just not resting. So obviously I'm trying now and I'm getting a lot better at it. But anyway, long-winded way of saying I'm watching The Summer I Turned Pretty. Like, I know it's finished and I'm behind, I'm behind off the bandwagon. But wow, the first time I tried to watch it was ages ago. Before, like, only when they were like whispers of it. Like now it's really blown up, but they were just like whispers of it before. And I thought, that sounds right up my street. But when I started watching, I was like, oh, it just seems a bit young, and I just didn't give it a chance. I knocked it straight off. But after like the second episode this time, and I think because Renee was here and she's seen it, I really like got into it, and I binged the whole first series in a day. I haven't done that for so long. It was so much fun. And yeah, I'm on season 2. The start of season 2, right, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but the start of season 2 absolutely took me out. Imagine you're following something, right, and you think it's going one way, and then within the first, I would say, 5 seconds, you get hit with a truck, and everything you thought was true and believed was happening was taken away from you in a second. I literally felt like somebody got shot in front of me. It was such a shock, and I was so traumatized that I actually had to stop watching it. I cried for ages, and I was like, I actually need a break. So I had about a 2-week break, but I've just started it this weekend again. So I am trying to schedule the rest for that. And yeah, I think I made a reel about it, just saying like how important it is to make sure you do have little breaks, guys. Actually, when I was setting up, it was really nice because I feel so different. Like, it got to a point, it feels like I shouldn't be telling you this. I don't know why. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't want it to ever come across like I was complaining or anything, but I don't know. I think now I can see, looking back, wow, you were burnt out. But at the time, I didn't know. But I was doing things like needing to record and knowing that I need to record sometimes on a Monday and I needed to be out on a Tuesday, right? Which is already so bad to do. There's so much work to do that in a night because obviously I work in the day. And I would like procrastinate it, which I've come to learn is also a sign of burnout, which makes you feel lazy and it makes you feel shit because you feel like, well, you need to do it, but there's something in it which you just cannot do it. And it's different, like, if I procrastinate now, it's very different. I still feel kind of in control of it. It's like, oh, I need to clean the kitchen. Oh, I can't be arsed. I'm going to go on TikTok for an hour. But then I will do it. But when you're burnt out, the procrastination's like a whole other level. It feels like really out of your control. And it's like something switched off in your head that you haven't just got the same energy that you can put into something. It's really weird. And like I say, I can only really now feeling now that I'm out, and I'm like, wow, you were really in like the trenches, you were really like in the thick of it there. So I remember one time procrastinating recording, thinking I can't do it, but I had done my makeup and got ready to record, and I just thought I cannot do it. So I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep and then I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m. to do it all before. So I went to sleep, say at midnight, kept my makeup on, and then woke up like 4 hours later. It might have even been less, right? And then woke up, then recorded it, and then doing it. Like, I found a TikTok in my drafts that I'd recorded. It was like 3 a.m, and I was like, oh, I've just been woken up because I feel so stressed that I didn't do enough, that I'm now sat by the computer. And I couldn't even remember recording that. And I was like, oh my God. I do remember when Amelia was here Christmas time, I didn't sleep all night because I was going back for the Christmas break. And I was like, I need to do everything before I go back. Everything needs to be done. And I tried to go to sleep, say at like midnight. And maybe half hour later, I was like, I can't. And I got up. And I just like worked all night. So I was like so sleep deprived as well. And I don't know if that's a sign of burnout. Maybe it is, but it's just not good. And so obviously then it alters your mood and stuff, doesn't it? And like I say, I was having, not so much last year, but definitely like the year before and like coming into this year, was still like a little bit shitty anyway. And I just moved into this flat by myself, and it's really weird, right? Because if any of you live by yourself, you probably like your own space. Like, I decided to live by myself because I knew that I couldn't handle being with a stranger in a flat share, or to be fair, even a friend. Like, as much as I, get on, obviously, with my friends, obviously, like, I like my own space. So moving in by myself, I thought I would be fine. But what I've learned is that you can still like your own space, but you still need contact with other people. And I've probably mentioned this before, but I broke up with my boyfriend, got a new job, which was mostly remote at the time, and moved out into a flat by myself, all at the same time, literally all within like the same month, 2 months. And again, now I can look back and think, there's no wonder like that you were struggling, because at the time I just thought it was because of the breakup, but now it's like, obviously it wasn't just that. I'm also living by myself. I'm adapting to that. I'm adapting to a new job, which was mostly remote at the time. Like, I'm in the office more now, but at the time it was mostly remote. And even when I was in the office, because it was a new job and just like the way the team was set up, I didn't really speak to anybody in the office either. And yeah, it was just a really tough time, guys. And when I came back, I kind of had the idea that I wanted the first episode to really delve into that and kind of be like a, hey, I'm back and I'm excited, but it hasn't been easy. And kind of, you guys share your stories with me all the time. The feedback I always get is how much that's helped people. And it doesn't feel right when I don't do the same back to you. Like, it really, really doesn't. And so I planned when I was coming back to talk about it, but I think honestly I was in the studio and I was so excited to be back and so happy to be in that studio that I kind of like dabbled a little bit in it and then just like went straight back into it because I was just so happy. So I'm kind of glad now that me needing to re-record an episode and do it from home, I don't know, it just kind of feels like I didn't plan to talk about any of this. It's just kind of rolled off my tongue. Do you know what it must be, right? I think, remember I always used to say, like, these episodes are like my therapy sessions. I think there is something about being at home, because when I'm at home alone, I turn this mic on and the camera, I'm just word vomiting all my feelings out to you. So I didn't plan, but you know what? It does feel good to get it off my chest. Is it helpful for you guys? Hopefully. Do you know what? I hope it's helpful for you to notice any signs of burnout, or even like if you're going through a breakup, or if you're going through a new job, or anything like I just mentioned, to just like understand that it is a big thing, because I didn't understand it at the time. And I used to say to Amelia, I'd be like, why am I upset today? Like, I should be okay today. And she'd be like, Sadie, it's okay. Obviously, you're going to be upset. You're going through so much. And I'd be like, but it's been 2 months. Why aren't I okay yet? Why aren't I completely normal? And I would get so frustrated with myself. But oh my God, like, things just take time. And yeah, I think really like hitting that record button and setting up here, I'm like, damn, I actually do feel so much better since having that time off. So anyway, wow, that's probably the longest intro we've done in a while. So if this is your first episode that you've tuned into, just know that it's a ride, yeah. It's a wild ride, but my favourite thing about it is that we're all so honest with each other and we share all our problems, because nobody can be happy all the time. Okay, so shall we actually get into this week's episode? She says, the year I turned 30, I got married and separated in the same year. It was one of the most challenging times of my life. Leaving was so hard, I felt embarrassed and ashamed, and I was so scared of starting all over again, but I also knew I couldn't stay. I froze my eggs the following year. I've always wanted to be a mum, but I was coming to terms with the thought that maybe I'd never meet my person. So I figured when the time was right, I'd have a baby on my own. I did a lot of therapy and came to realise what I wanted and deserved if I was to be with someone again. I love that. I think it's so lucky if you can freeze your eggs, because I think you can't help, as a woman, but think about it. Like, if you actually want children, you can't help but think about the timeline. And it's so amazing now that we've got options where you don't necessarily need a man now to have a baby. So it's really amazing. She said, I went out one night with a friend. I wasn't looking for anything, but my friend spotted Hugo on the dance floor. He went up to him and said, you're handsome. Are you single? I have the perfect girl for you. You cannot beat a good wingman. Honestly, they're imperative for friendships. Hugo was a little hesitant. It was late and he was ready to go home. But my persistent friend pulled me over to Hugo and placed me in front of him. There was an instant connection. My friend said it was like there were love hearts popping in the sky. Cute. We found the quietest spot we could at the bar and spoke for 2 hours. 2 hours speaking at the bar. So here's what I will say. Being a good wing woman does come with its flaws because the poor friend set him up. What's he doing now for the next 2 hours? That's unfortunate. Hopefully he went home or found somebody else to chat to. I was struck by his warmth and kindness and his sense of humour. He was intelligent, engaging, and so easy to talk to. I didn't want our conversation to end. He dropped me home, we shared a kiss, and I got his number because his phone had died. I messaged him as soon as I got into bed that night. No playing it cool. I knew he was special. I'm all for that now that I'm older. If I had this podcast 10 years ago, I'd be telling you, never text anybody first. Don't do this, don't do that. And it wasn't like I was queen of game playing, but I was just like, absolutely, you never make the first move. But I don't know if you've ever heard Sophie talk about the story of how she met Claudio. So Sophie, one of my best friends, she met Claudio on a night out. So we were on the night out together. We had just moved in to a place together. We were out and she met him and got his number, wherever. And the next day she was going to text him and I was like, do not text him. You shouldn't be texting him first. He should be messaging you. And she was like, no, I'm just going to text him anyway. And now they're engaged. So it's really, I do think, honestly, like when you're with the right person, there's just no games to be had and it just kind of works. And also, obviously, now with age, I'm just like, who's got time to play games? Like, come on now. Okay, she says, we messaged every day after that, and our first date was a coffee catch-up one morning. We sat there talking for 2 hours. The more I learned about him, the more I liked him. We realised we had so much in common, and our values were so aligned, which are very important. He made me feel seen, supported, excited, but also incredibly calm. This is something else I've learned with age, is that when you meet somebody that is right for you, and I'm not just saying this, only one person, but when you meet a person that is right for you, you should feel calm. You can feel excited by it, but that feeling that I used to get in my stomach, like complete anxiety, nerves, like sometimes I couldn't even eat before going on a date. It doesn't always mean that the person's bad or anything and like toxic, but it really says something when you're comfy enough around somebody to feel completely calm, like especially because they knew you've just met them. So obviously you're going to be a little bit nervous, but if you can feel calm and relaxed around them, then I just think that is such a good sign that you're right for each other. Like you get it with friends as well, don't you? Or certain colleagues. Like there's some people that you just feel really comfy with and you can really be yourself with. And even though it's rare, it happens and it's just so, so special. And I think that's like a real good sign of a good connection. We both travelled a lot for work, so we didn't get to see each other often, but we messaged and FaceTimed as much as we could. Whenever we spoke or saw each other, everything felt easy and right. He never made me question where I stood. We said I love you 2 months after we met. I've never been more sure. A year ago, we moved in together and it has been the best year. It's like living with my best friend. We make each other laugh and we are each other's biggest cheerleaders. He is incredibly kind and consistent. All of my first impressions of him were true. I'm grateful every single day that I flipped my life on its head when I did, because I came out with the greatest love of my life. I'm more at peace in myself than I have ever been. I did a lot of healing through therapy, but it is amazing what you can do when you have a kind, supportive partner by your side. They lift you up and help you to be the best version of yourself. If you're reading this, I want you to know that it's never too late to start over and you deserve the best kind of love, whether you find that in another person or within yourself. So sweet. That is from Olivia Molly Rogers. She actually didn't write in. I just saw the post on TikTok, so hopefully she doesn't mind me sharing it. I just saw that and I was like, oh, amazing. I do think when you break up with somebody, your biggest worry is finding somebody again. Like when you break up with someone, you think, I'm never going to find a person that loves me like this, which is kind of the point. But you think, I'm never going to find a person that I love like this. I'm never going to find somebody that makes me feel this way. I'm going to be alone forever. And I think it's very easy for people or your friends to say, like, of course you will. But deep down, only you know how you felt with that person. And I do sometimes think it is true that sometimes you won't meet somebody that you felt that way about. However, you can meet somebody that you feel even better with, or you feel completely different with in a really good way. Like, you don't always have to think about replicating that feeling again. I think when you're in a different relationship with different people, you sometimes love them in different ways, and you know, they are completely different people. You were a completely different person by the time you're with them, so the relationship is going to be different. And I think with that, like, the feelings and the love can be different, and I think that's a lot, like, that's a much nicer way to think about breakups and finding somebody again, because I think rather than a panic of, I'm never going to feel like this again, it's kind of like an acceptance that you might not feel exactly like that, but you're probably going to feel even better about somebody else, because you've still broken up with that person for a reason. Even if they've broken up with you, it's for a reason that you might not be able to see yet and it doesn't feel right. But eventually when you come out of it, you're going to realise that if you've broken up and you're never going to get back together, obviously people break up and get back together, that's a different thing. But if you've broken up and you're never going to get back together, then I really, really believe it's because they know your person. Like, I just don't think there's a universe that would let that happen, that would let you separate forever from the love of your life. Like, I just have not got that belief. I saw a Lush story the other day, actually. Maybe I saved it on you. Let me see. Oh my God, I did. Yes. Yes, I saw this Lush story, right? This woman falls in love with a guy, head over heels. They have a really intense relationship, but then she moves away. Her family moves away and she has to move to a different city. It's 1968, right? So there's no social media, mobiles, etc. So they just completely lose contact, right? He gets married to somebody else. She gets married to somebody else and has a baby. Her partner passes away. Her new husband passes away, right? And his partner, the guy's partner, had an affair. So ultimately, they are both brokenhearted, right? And 25 years after they first met, the woman goes back to Paris, where she met the love of her life and where she originally moved from. She goes, she meets the original love of her life. This is 25 years later. They fall straight back in love. A month later, he proposes to her. And now here they are together. This is another story I saw on TikTok, guys. Here they are together, happy and in love. And that's I'll put the pictures up on YouTube, guys. Maybe I'll put them up on the Instagram as well. I'll put them on the @LoveWhatLuck Instagram. There's 2 pictures of them when they originally met as youngsters, and then 25 years later. And that shit should just make you feel content. Especially, like, if you're single right now, this could be the last time you're single for the rest of your life. So don't spend it worrying about meeting somebody. And I know it's so easy to say, like, I've been there myself, like, I think everyone has, but I just think there's too many stories and there's too many instances like that where people come together or see each other again, or, you know, in the strangest of circumstances, and it's natural to feel frightened, but, you know, as the time goes on and you heal, then try and let those fears go and enjoy your single life, because there's going to be a time when you're married and, you know, your partner's like cutting his toenails or something next to you, and you're going to be like, oh my God, you're going to look at him and you're just going to think, you were so smelly and annoying. Like, I wish I could have just enjoyed my single time more, and, you know, a time when I didn't have to see you do this. Actually, talking about breakup stories, I don't know if I've ever told you about the two ladies I met before when I was on holidays. When I broke up with my boyfriend, I had a trip planned the next day, literally, right? It was booked and ready, so obviously I had to go. And I was a mess. I was really upset, and as you can imagine, just like not in the headspace to be on a girls' trip. Anyway, we're out having a couple of drinks, which was like a hot chocolate. Anyway, we were out in this bar, and my friend was talking to me, but not like when you're going through a breakup or like something big, your head can't take in anything else. Like my brain was just playing me one channel of my breakup and nothing else. So I actually remember my friend saying she said something, and then I just burst into tears, and she was like, "Oh my God, is it because I mentioned, I think she said, is it because I mentioned Paris?" And I was like, I don't even know what you said. Like, in the nicest possible way, I'm not listening to a word that you have been saying because I physically can't. Like, all my head is thinking about is my breakup and like my current situation. It's just crazy. Like, your brain can only take so much, can't it? So anyway, we sat down. My friend's probably talking to me and I'm not taking any of it in, right? But we sat down and I could hear these two women, older women next to us, talking about their breakups. And I said to my friend, I was like, I need to go and speak to them. And she was like, what? I was like, I need to go and speak to them. My friend was just like, what the hell's happened? She must have thought I was crazy, right? So I go over to these ladies' tables, tears in my eyes, right? On my knees, because I was tuttying down. And I was like, hi, I know this is really random, like literally voice breaking, because I was nearly going to cry. I know this is really random, but I've just broken up with my boyfriend and I can hear you two talking about your breakup stories. And I just think it would be really helpful if I could sit and listen. Bless them. They were so lovely. They were like, oh my God, bless you, of course. So we pulled up a chair and they told me their stories, right? One of them, their husband had an affair. She found out and she forgave him. She was devastated, but they tried to work through it and then he did her again. So she was like, I didn't want to leave him, but I knew I had to leave him that second time. And it was absolutely heartbreaking and really hard, but I left him. And she said he was absolutely devastated. He tried for a long time to get back together. But she was like, I just knew I couldn't do it. And she said, now I'm with the nicest man. She said, I'm married to the sweetest, nicest man. We're so happy. And she's like, now I can just look back at that situation and just, thank God it happened to me. And I was like, wow, okay, that's, more a lovely, more a lovely happy ending story. And then the other lady found out that her husband had been having an affair or had cheated on her. She'd found a message on his phone or on his computer. There's a theme here. And she found out, right, whilst he was at work, and she cleared her stuff out of the house completely and moved out before he came home. And she never spoke to him after that. Well, I don't know, maybe they spoke to each other like, a little bit to like sort stuff out, but she said, I literally packed my stuff up and so that when he came home, it was all gone. So she said it was the best. She was like, it was the best feeling doing that to him. And he was obviously devastated, begged for her back, but she was like, absolutely not. And she was single still, but she was so happy. She was like, I'm so happy. Thank God, he's gone. And obviously this happened to them like a long time ago. And I just think in that moment, it was so nice to see two women sat there on a girls' trip. They were literally like, must have been in their 60s. They were on a girls' trip as well. And they were just like, so okay. And I was just looking at them and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then they left. Me and my friend went back to our table. And they'd paid for a round of drinks for us. The waitress bought a round of drinks over and said they've settled your bill and they've brought you with a couple of glasses of champagne. Guys, it was so sweet. And do you know what? The universe works in wonderful ways because that has never happened to me before, never happened to me since. It's just like the chances of being there at the same time as those two women and me hearing them when I couldn't even focus on what my friend was saying. Hearing them and just thinking I need to go and speak to them and then them being like so lovely. It was a really nice moment. Actually, I was saying this to my friend the other day that when you are in like a real state of like angst or heartbreak or crisis, you will do things that is way above your pay grade. I just think you force yourself into situations that make you uncomfortable because you've got to, and because I think when you're in like a crisis state, you're not aware of the same things. It's not like if people go through really horrific things, like if they have a death or in the family, or if, you know, if they've had like, say, you know, a bad health diagnosis and then they come out of it, you just like realize that you shouldn't sweat the small stuff. And I just think you have like a different kind of like outlook on stuff, and that's probably one of the biggest pros to having a breakup or a big sadness, is that you honestly give less shits about anything else, because all you can focus on is what you're going through, and you're like you're at the bottom, you're at rock bottom, you're scraping the barrel. So you're kind of like, well, I've got nothing to lose, so let me just go and, yeah, do whatever. You're a little bit unhinged in the best way, I think. You know, drunk kissing in bars, you're going on dates that you probably shouldn't be, and I don't know, it might be a little bit toxic, some of it, but I think it's nice. I think it's fun. It's nice to have those little stories in your back pocket. Okay, guys, so to end the episode, let's go into a little round of all in or fold. Here we go. Picture the scene. You're dating somebody, everything's going well, and then the former love of your life texts you saying, hey, how are you? Do you go all in with your current partner, or you fold in and going back to the love of your life? Oh, God. You know what's bad is that my instinct is saying I'm going back to the love of my life. But we have to remember that if you've broken up with somebody and you're dating somebody else, then you technically should be over the love of your life before you're in that next relationship. But, you know, as much as we want to believe that and we want to do that, do people do that? Evidently not. You know, I do believe if there's a love of your life out there, then nothing can keep you apart, and maybe that's your sign to get back. But, oh gosh, it also depends what you broke up over, doesn't it? You know, if he's the love of your life, but he's also an absolute dickhead, then he's not the love of your life. Do you know what I mean? But like, if he's actually the love of your life and he just, I don't know, he got drafted to war or something and then he messaged you, you'd be like, oh, you'd have to just go and see, wouldn't you, I think. I think that's what I'd have to do, is just like go and see what the situation is. However, I have to say that if you're not over somebody, you shouldn't be getting into a serious relationship with somebody. And if you're with somebody and you can leave them at a hey, how are you message, then you're obviously not into the new person enough for you. You know, if you're with a new person and you get a hey, how are you from the love of your life and you feel nothing, then that shows he's not the love of your life. So it all goes with the feelings you get from that text, I think. If it's like a, oh my God, I can't believe it's happening, go for it. If it's a, oh my God, gross, did I not block him? Then you can go all in with the new guy. Sorry, can I just interrupt this, right? I've said before, I still get the messages from promoters from my like club ho days. I actually in a vulnerable state the other day, because it's my birthday. One of the promoters is obviously like every year for my birthday, they message saying they want to like give me a table, right? And because I've did it for a good few years with them. In a state of madness, I replied to them the other day and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. And I was thinking, yeah, the girls would be up for that. They would never have been up for it if I suggested to go to a Mayfair club. For me, it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but for me, it's just like scanning the IDs. And like, if you scan your ID in the club, do you know the picture, depending on what club you're in, sometimes your full picture and your age comes up. Have you seen that? Black and white on the screen in the club queue. So imagine everyone's scanning through 18, 19, 21, 22, 25 maybe, and then mine goes through 34. I'm sorry, it's just more than I could handle. I can't be out feeling like grandma in the club. So anyway, I don't know what I was thinking. It was my birthday and I was like, yeah, let's do that. The girls will be up for it. They rang me. As soon as the phone call came through, I knew I'd made a mistake. I thought, what? Something's changed here. Like, we never used to have phone calls. Like, maybe I suppose the promoters have grown up as well, and now they like over texting. I don't know. As soon as the phone call came through, I was like, absolutely not. And then they messaged me like, hey, you tried to call you. I was like, that was a 5 moment illusion that I dreamt in my head. It's not happening. Anyway, my point is, I've just had a message. For Cirque tonight, right? They celebrated 16 years. They've got a very special guest, a really big artist, yeah, which I believe will be hosting. Guess it's £40. Sorry? I wouldn't want to pay £40 to get into a club now. I certainly wouldn't want to, and didn't even have the money when I used to go clubbing. Are these Gen Zers rich now or what? £40 for the guest list. Guest list! Do you even get a table and a drink with that? Crazy. Cirque's moving mad now. Well, do you know, I'm glad I was in it when I was in it, because I was in it when I wasn't working. And it was great because it was when I was living with Amelia, and we'd be like, oh, we've got dinner tonight. We'd have the free dinner. So yeah, it used to save us money. If anything, we used to like make money. And Uber home from the club, guys, from Mayfair to Hammersmith used to be £10. I don't know how much it is now, actually. Maybe it's the same. But it used to be £10. We used to go out, get a free dinner, free drinks, party, and it cost us £10 and say like £2 odd on TFL to get out. Just an absolute bargain. Okay, imagine this. You've just got into a relationship with somebody, so you're really locking in, things are getting serious. You're fully boyfriend-girlfriend, and he tells you that he's got an OnlyFans account and he's got his subscriptions and he enjoys it. Are you all in or folding? I'm folding. For me, I don't have an issue with my partner watching porn, but porn and OnlyFans to me are two very different things. Porn is like, it can be anyone, and yes, you know, there's some familiar faces or body parts on there. And, you know, you can have your favourites, but there's no, like, personality, whereas I think OnlyFans is very much like a brand. It's like a woman. You can tell the difference between porn being done by a man and OnlyFans being done by a woman. I mean, I don't know if OnlyFans was invented by a woman. Let's find that out, actually. Oh, a man, a British man. Tim Stokely, a British businessman. Well, I shouldn't be surprised at that, because obviously it's a guy and he's like, let me pick up OnlyFans so I can see more tits. But I am surprised a little bit, because OnlyFans is very much in the favour for women, I think. Like, if I was in the, you know, adult entertainment industry, I'd 100% be going down the OnlyFans route rather than porn, because OnlyFans, you're like very much in control of everything, aren't you? Whereas I've seen a few porn documentaries and they never end happy for the girl. Anyway, I just think an OnlyFans subscription is more like you're following that person, and like they offer chats and things. I mean, I'm not subscribed to anyone on OnlyFans. I haven't got it, but I just think it's more of a brand, more of a personal connection to somebody, and I'm not up for that. Also, you're paying somebody else. Pay me. I'm giving you blowies for free. So pay me, please. Why am I getting in on the action? You're seeing me naked all the time. Shove the £15 a month to me. You know? I won't be comfortable with that, so I'm folding. Absolutely folding. Okay, and the final one. Let's lock in. Picture the scene. The guy you're dating says he loves you after 2 weeks. Are you all in or fold? Oh, God. As much as my ego would like me to believe that absolutely somebody can fall in love with me in 2 weeks, I think that actually expressing that is the red flag. And I don't think you can be that tight into your emotions. I don't know. I hate to be cynical because, you know, I believe in fast love, but yeah, with age and maturity and experience, I've realised that I think you can feel like you're gonna fall in love with somebody within 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is enough time, especially 2 weeks, obviously, of like intense seeing each other, I imagine. I think you can feel, oh my God, this is gonna be special and I could fall in love with you. And I think that's very valid, and that's actually happened to me. But actually feeling like you're in love and saying it, it's a red flag. I'd have to fold, because you know, that needs to be like, at least for me, I think the mark for I love you, I would say, you know, within within a few weeks, you're having the exclusive chat. And then I'd say within 2, maybe 3 months, you're locked in as boyfriend, girlfriend. And then after that, after your boyfriend, girlfriend, it's just like a hop, skip and a jump until I love you, innit? I think anyway. That's the timeline that I like to work with, and I think is accurate. If I'm dating somebody for 2 months and I've got no desire to take it to the next step, then I fear that it's never coming. Like, we should know by 2 months whether or not it's serious. Again, this is 2 months of like regular dates and stuff, you know? Yeah, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks is too soon, even for me, as a hopeless romantic. But, of course, guys, let me know what you think. I've said before, I really want to make it more interactive, and I want to do, like, questions of the week on Instagram and stuff, because I want to get people's thoughts. So make sure to follow me on @Sadie Maltby and @LoveOutLuck, and we'll get a question of the week up on Tuesday when the episode drops. And yeah, just let us know your thoughts. If there's anything that you've experienced from the episode, anything that you think, if you've got any of your stories, then come and let us know. You can write me an email. I'm sadie@loveoutluck.com, or send me a DM. I'm @SadieMaltby @loveoutluck. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. Please remember to subscribe, guys. Remember to subscribe. Leave the comments. Share. Follow me on Spotify. Like, I've got to plug myself because I just love this shit and I just want it to reach more people. I want to get more people on. Like, I want to get more guests on. I want to hear more people's stories. And we just need to get the podcast out. So, yeah, your support is very much appreciated. And I will speak to you next week.